Welcome to another episode on our K-swapped Honda Civic. Today we're going to find out what the difference is between a street coilover and a track coilover. You guys have seen some of our earlier track-based videos in our K-swapped DK Civic. You will have noticed that there's some body roll there, and that's because we went with K-Tune's K1 Street setup, because this was built really for Pete's brother, who was going to use it on the street as well as at the track, and so we wanted something that could survive out on the street without being too jarring, too harsh, but could still come and do some light duty here at the racetrack. So we found that they're really good on the street, they're very comfortable, and at the track, if we crank them up, crank the dampers up pretty much to full stiff, we're controlling body roll well, but on a stickier tire like these semi-slicks, there's still more body motion than we want. So we've decided we wanted to step up to something that's more track focused. This car's really kind of graduated to being more of a track car and less of a street car anyway, if we're honest. So that means it's really a good time for us to make the change to these K2 circuit coilovers from K-Tuned. This is the next progression in their lineup of coilovers, and as the name would suggest, they're really designed for the circuit. One of the bigger changes is in the spring rate department. These are a 20K, well actually that's a 16K rear spring. Swift springs, by the way, which are very high quality spring, and 20K springs on the front. Those are some serious spring rates, but we think they should match up pretty well with this sticky rubber that we've got on the car now. They're also valved completely differently than the streets, again, for controlling body motion. They're 32-way adjustable dampening for really for rebound to adjust handling balance. And apparently they've got much more rugged internals, so they can take the pounding that they'll see out here on the, on the curbs on the racetrack. So excited to see how these perform against the streets, but before we can do that, we need to go and set a baseline lap time on the streets. And we're coming back to the paddock here, we're swapping these on, and then we'll go rip some more tech.
Okay, just putting some heat into our Nankang AR1 100 treadwear semi-slicks here on our Koenig Hypergrams. It's a 15 by 7.5 inch wheel, 225 tires up front, 205s in the back. Staggered setup for extra rotation, and as you'll see, this car does rotate really well, but you'll also see that it does have a fair bit of body motion because the K1 streets are tuned for street comfort as much as they are for performance here at the racetrack. So all right, coming around to the front straight here for our first flying hot lap. Let's give it some tech here and see how it goes. Man, I've forgotten how high the K20 revs. What a screamer of a motor. Got a little ABS kicking in there. Very nice through turn one. Man, it just revs for days. Should mention that it's a cool day here at TMP. It's only maybe 10 degrees and very windy, so the motor is making tons of power in this cold air, but it does take a little while to get some heat in the tires. But these Nankangs are definitely working well. The car just rotates so willingly. You can go back to the throttle nice and early.
I missed the K20 motor, Pete. This thing revs to the moon. I love all those RPM, and the car's working well. It's got nice cool air. It's rotating like crazy on this 225, 205 staggered setup. So we did a 122.9, which is a good base lap time for this car. I think it's gone slightly faster under different conditions, but today I think that's a good lap time for the car. So the one thing I should mention is with the K1s, there is still quite a lot of body motion, and with a stickier tire like this, it tends to make the body roll even more. And what that means is you're getting a lot of weight transfer to the front tires on the brakes, and then you're getting a lot of weight transfer to the loaded front tire in the corners. So you're working the front tires really hard on this car, and I think we're going to use all 4 contact patches a lot better once we increase the spring rate and improve the damping with those K2 circuits. So I'm really excited to see how the balance of the car feels, how the attitude of the car changes. I assume it's going to flatten out a bunch. We're going to use these tires a lot better, and we should see quicker lap times, but there's only one way to find out. Time to get wrenching, PT. World's quickest suspension swap complete, and we set it to what we think is very close to the same ride height. So our alignment should be close enough. I think we're a little bit higher, but that's fine. And I set the dampers to the rear. I pretty much put them in the middle. To the front, I put them slightly softer than middle. So I think I'm like 20 clicks in the rear and 26 clicks in the front, something like that. So it's time to go shake it down and see how it feels.
I don't know if I mentioned the K1 streets are 10K front, 6K rear. And these are, as we did mention, 20K front, 16K rear. So it is a big step up in spring rates. Not sure how this car will feel on that, but there's only one way to find out. It's obviously going to take a lap to get some heat in the tires, and that's a good thing because that'll give me a chance to familiarize myself with the way the car feels on these. But so far, so good. It does feel stiffer, a lot less nosedive on the brakes there. And it definitely feels flatter in the corners already. And I am only ripping at 50% of available unicorns. Oh man, this car rotates so nice. Love it. This is a bumpy track, where I would typically say a soft setup is better, but the amount of body roll we had before, I think this is going to be quicker. It's feeling a little more confidence inspiring, a lot racier. All right, let's send it for a lap or two and see how she feels. Balance is good already. I guess pretty well on the dampers there, I guess. Two is so bouncy, but the dampers handled it pretty well. ABS is kicking in real early. Got this pylon right on the apex here. Not ideal. Found in the curve on that last corner there. See how she does. Across the line. 22.6. Okay guys, made some adjustments to the shock settings. It was starting to pick up a little bit of push, so I've stiffened up the rear a bit, softened up the front a little, and I've made some adjustments to the tire pressures. I had them a little bit too high, so we're just trying to optimize the setup for these K2s, get the most out of them we can. We went 3 or 4 tenths quicker already, and I think there's easily another, I don't know, half second to a second in these. If I could just get the car dialed in, working, getting the most out of them. That's always the fun part, is to spend some time dialing in your car on new parts. So see how it goes. The temperatures are dropping fast though, so track conditions are changing, which isn't ideal, but we're going to make the best of it we can here and get us the best data we can. Is this guy gonna hold me up? Come on! This lap's gonna get held up too. Son of a bitch. Well, I'm afraid that's it, guys. We are out of time here.
I had 2 good hot laps going and I got held up on both of those, so unfortunately we didn't get a clean lap in, but all in all, we're still a half second quicker than we were on the K1 streets, and that's definitely a big step in the right direction. That may not sound like a big improvement, but in the lap or in the time attack world, that's still a significant chunk of time. And I feel like like with better conditions, with warmer temperatures, we could easily go another half second or a full second faster. So lots more can come out of this setup with the right conditions. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Give us a thumbs up for more EK K-Swap Civic here at TMP. And be sure to subscribe and go check out speedacademy.shop for swag or even some go fast parts.